Hey guys, my name is Robert. This here is Scott, a good friend. And why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do and the reason for this video?
Hey, Scott Morrissey. Um, I am an art teacher, but I also like to collect toys, vintage toys from the 60s up until present day. And welcome to my basement. I just want to show you around a little bit.
All right, this is pretty cool. So right now he's going to bring us along with his slight collection. So we have some Star Wars up top. Wow, Star Trek. Can you tell us a little bit about the Star Trek?
Yeah, Star Trek is made by MEGO. A lot of those have been reissued recently. MEGO has come back as a company. They went away in the mid 80s, but now they're back better than ever. So
That's amazing. And so you've been collecting these toys as a child, some of them, and you've been collecting them as an adult also,
yes,
correct?
yes.
That's amazing. So wait a minute. As a child, you've purchased toys where you have doubles. You would play with some, and then you have some where you just store. And
There's definitely a few that I have. More so when I was a little bit older, I would buy two of each.
wow,
Especially when I started working, I had some, some money, which I don't have anymore. But,
we can only wish and wish that we've done stuff like that. What's this right here? So the whole reason for this video, um, we're sitting at the bar. He has a bar in his basement, and we are just chatting and talking and stuff. And I seen these two guys, and this guy looks like Darth Vader, and these guys look like C3PO and R2D2. And I'm looking at the bottom, and those are the Star Wars figures, and I'm like, wait, you gotta let me know, like, who are these guys and what's the origin, and so if you can, a brief description.
okay.
In the future, we will be doing small videos on the origin of each and every one of these toys. Again, it's just pretty cool as avid collector, or just to remind you and just to kickstart those memories of when we were children once. And these toys are opening them and playing with them, and just a memory. So go ahead without further ado.
Okay. All right. So the Star Team was created by Ideal Toys as early as the early 70s, late 60s. But it went away for a while. And then when Star Wars came out, they resurrected the idea of the Star Team to cash in on what Star Wars was doing. So they created their own Star Wars-esque characters, the Knight of Darkness, M21, and the Zeroid. There's also a guy named Kent, which I don't have, which is very, very rare.
So if you do have them and you're willing to sell them,
yeah, bring them here.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
look nice in my case.
So pretty much Zeroid was before Star Wars.
Yeah, the Zeroids came out in the late 60s.
Okay.
And by Ideal Toys. They're all motorized. Pretty tough to find nowadays.
That's pretty cool.
Especially in working condition. And the Zeroid in the Star Team is actually repurposed from the Zeroids in the 60s.
Wow. So these were before Star Wars, and then when Star Wars came out, they became very popular. So then Zeroid tried to
Ideal, yeah.
Yeah, Ideal. They tried to cash in on the popularity of Star Wars, but then they got sued.
I believe that they it didn't end well. So, but
That's
I believe
awesome.
that they also beat Star Wars toys to market.
Wow. That's
Which,
amazing.
Yeah, because Kenner was not prepared for what Star Wars was going to become. So
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So, what do we have down here? This looks like
$6 million man.
$6 million. Okay.
So yeah, again by Kenner Toys. Predates Star Wars.
That's awesome. All right, $6 million man. You even have the rocket ship or the capsule in the back.
Yep.
That's crazy. And wow, this is when they were working on them, right?
That's the same capsule that's in the back there, just expanded and opened up.
Wow.
It actually does.
That's
one of the
amazing.
First toys
man.
I remember having as a child, and just used to.
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine if you had the toys that you had as a child now, like that? That would be amazing. Right here, what do we have?
So this is MEGO toys, and some old ideal superhero toys, some Corgi stuff. But this is DC, and the block above it is also DC, and then Marvel above that.
It's pretty awesome.
All made by MEGO.
So if you're fans of the Avengers, this is the origins right here.
Yep.
Wow. So we have the Star Trek. Right here, what do we have?
So MEGO spurred on a lot of other competitors. One was Tomlin, and then down here is another one called AHI. But I also have mixed in other companies that had created figures that were in the same vein as MEGO's. 8-inch figures with cloth clothing. And there's also some new MEGO figures mixed in with all these as well.
That's pretty cool. So we have King Kong down here.
Yeah, that's made by McFarlane Toys. And
is that Swamp Thing or?
No, it's all creatures like Universal
creatures
monsters.
from the lagoon. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So.
We have G.I. Joe. Wow, Hasbro.
Yeah.
All right. So in the box, Super Joe also. It's amazing. We actually have the actual toys in here.
Yes. It's in there. I don't believe it's ever really been used. So,
look at that. That's amazing.
Kind of a sad story of how I got it, but that's
for another time.
That's for another time, yeah.
That's amazing.
So.
Wow. Mobile support vehicle. That's awesome. All right. So we even have some Star Wars posters.
Star Tours. And,
Star Tours
Disney.
From Disney.
Yep, from the 80s.
And these might be very valuable, sir. That's pretty cool. Have a look at that. All right, then we have some Kiss figures. Yeah. Nothing really antique there, right?
Yeah, some
fairly
albums
new.
are old, but the figures are new.
That's pretty cool.
So.
All right, so we have He-Man. So some of these are the newer, some are the older.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't have any of the old stuff except for the castles or vintage, but the figures themselves came out in the mid 2000s, re-released by Mattel, and actually I think they look a lot nicer than the originals, even though.
Oh my goodness! Let me tell you what I remember from this. I remember the slime pit.
Yeah.
I remember the battle armor, the damage armor, He-Man.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, you hit him and his armor gets damaged. Oh, what do we have down here?
So we got some vintage G.I. Joe stuff from the first series that came out. The original 12 straight arm figures. Anything that came out in the from the original set. So.
Let me tell you, your collection is very impressive, sir.
Thank you.
What do we have over there? What is that, Jaws?
That's a little Jaws display I put up there.
Memorabilia. We have a book.
Stuff.
We have some figures. Yeah. We have the ship. That's pretty cool. All you're missing is the beer.
There's Jaws beer.
Yeah, I think there was a beer that the guy drank. I went and got it at the bar the other day. It's pretty cool. Wow, so you even have shark teeth.
Yep.
Megalodon?
Yep, there's 2 Megalodon teeth there and one
awesome.
great white.
So you have, wow.
Soundtracks I'll probably never ever listen to.
Soundtracks, original motion picture soundtracks. 1 and 2. That's awesome, sir. Yoda. What's this guy right here?
That's Sucker Man.
Sucker Man.
Sucker Man was released in a variety of colors. There's a glow-in-the-dark one, which would be amazing to get, but I think he's pretty much the toughest one to find.
Wow, that's amazing. These guys right here, let me tell you, this guy reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know what you would call him.
I forgot what he was called.
Yeah, But where are these guys from?
Those are Boglins.
Okay.
My wife actually collected Boglins for a while. We had quite the collection, and she wanted to sell them all, and so we sold most of them. But this is what we have left, so I decided to put them down here.
That's pretty awesome, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
What do we have here? We have some Yeti stuff.
So this is my cryptozoology collection.
Nice.
Anything that has to do with Bigfoot, Yeti, anything like that. I actually run on Facebook a cryptozoology collectible group. And we don't have a lot of members, but it's fun every once in a while, you know, to see anything that was made that has to do with this kind of stuff.
And you're on Facebook, so what are some of your pages on Facebook?
We have the cryptozoology collectible. We have a glow-in-the-dark toy page, which is popular. A toy display. We talk about how to display stuff. Show pictures of how you displayed items. I also have a Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings collectible museum and archive.
Nice.
I also run a page that is dedicated to Lords of Light by Pack Toys.
Wow.
It's a very rare line of toys.
That's pretty amazing. Hats off to you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. What do we have over here? So, this group.
So that's Tron Legacy.
Tron.
Made by,
nice.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. That is awesome. So, Tron Legacy. This is Tron also?
yeah, that's Tron, made by Tomy and also NECA Toys from the 80s and the mid-90s. And those are the Lords of Light that I was talking about earlier.
Lords of Light. That's amazing. So where do the Lords of Light come from? Like,
They originated from the Micronauts line. Micronauts was made by MEGO, and so they're created from the molds for the most part from the MEGO figures. There's a lot of other history there. But,
that's pretty amazing. Wow. So we have some Indiana Jones memorabilia.
All made by Kenner.
That's pretty cool.
Same guys who did Star Wars.
What do we have down here? The Real West?
Yep, that's a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid line, which eventually was to become the Real West line, but it was canceled after they released the Saloon playset, and they never released anything else that was supposed to come out for the Real West line.
That's pretty awesome. Now let me just say something right here. This bar, that looks familiar, and you brought this up to me. What can you say about that bar right there? The Western Cafe Action playset.
The original mold of that was the cantina from the Star Wars playset, and then they just repurposed it to be in this Real West.
That's pretty cool. So, and that cantina that you speak of, that's right over here.
Right in the corner.
Right here. So this is the same cantina as
retooled a little bit different, but for the most part, yeah, it's the exact same thing.
That's awesome.
So,
oh my goodness, they're like a time capsule. All right, so what do we have here?
So we have a line called Starriers, made by Tomy, and some more Micronauts items up top.
Okay. And Micronauts, who are the Micronauts?
Micronauts were, well, they have their origins from Japan, but they were brought over. They were called Microman in Japan, which also has its origins, which ties into Transformers, and it gets kind of crazy. But they were made by MEGO Toys, the same guys that did the 8-inch figures, the superheroes and stuff over there.
It's pretty awesome.
And yeah, it's all kind of connected in some way.
Wow.
So
then we have Alien figures.
All prototypes, Alien prototypes.
Wow, so you collect prototypes also.
Yes.
Prototypes. We have display down here.
Yes.
Again, we will be going into the history and his connection with these toys he collected. And yeah, we'll do that in future videos until he runs his own video line. and then you can follow him on his line. So right here we have, what's up there?
Those are Micronauts.
Okay, more Micronauts. Yeah. All right. And what do we have right here in this case?
So these are all Toy Biz Lord of the Ring figures. These are all prototypes.
Nice.
You know, early versions of the figures before they were available at retail.
It's pretty cool.
There might be differences in sculpts, in poses, in accessories. They're generally unpainted, and a lot of collectors really like to get the prototypes.
That's pretty cool. Now, prototypes you mentioned. So you have some more prototypes over here. Like these are prototypes.
Yes.
And from what you told me is the prototypes, so they make it in that size first, and then they downscale it to about this size.
Yes, correct.
That's amazing.
The big ones are called 2-ups.
2-ups.
And the original sculpt generally does not survive.
That is amazing.
So,
What, they usually destroy the prototype or the 2-up after?
yes.
That's pretty cool. All right. That is amazing. It's really amazing. Okay. One thing that you brought to my attention that I was not aware of. So Lord of the Rings did not happen in the 2000s. It was actually began in the 80s.
It you know, the books were written in the 50s, and then
50s.
It wasn't until 1978 when the first film adaptation came about, and it was by a man named Ralph Bakshi, an animator, and he did some innovative animation techniques called rotoscoping, where it was a very realistic animation technique. And so that was released in 1978, and it did well, but it was unfinished. It was only the first half of the Lord of the Rings story. So, and they never did the second half. So, but there's a lot of merchandise out there that has to do with the original animated Lord of the Rings movie, and a lot of people are familiar with the action figures, which were made by a company called Knickerbocker, but there's so much more than just those figures that are out there.
I mean, this is amazing. Look, I mean, you've got Halloween masks. You said those are ultra rare because they're usually thrown in the garbage after Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween masks for any line are generally non-existent.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
yeah.
Look at the memorabilia. Wow.
That's new.
Oh, you've even got records. Wow. That's amazing. So then we follow back to the Star Wars.
These were all my original toys from when I was a kid.
Now, these are originals. And the story behind this, you had a lot more, but you sold about, I'd say, 95% to purchase your first house?
Yes.
Wow. It's amazing.
What I was able to, a little bit that I kept or rebuilt over time.
Wow. That right there is amazing, sir. Let me just get a view of some of these figures. That's just amazing. This is like a time capsule. It's just amazing.
Fun stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, some of these are in the original packaging, correct?
Well, no. It's the original packaging displayed behind them.
Oh, displayed behind.
I sold,
but you had a lot that were in the original packaging.
I had about 60 to 75 original sealed figures that I had sold.
That right there is amazing. And then under here we have more Lord of the Rings. Memorabilia. Wow. Wow. This is amazing. More Star Wars. The Empire Strikes Back. That's amazing. What is this right here? This
That's
section.
the just some other Star Wars stuff that couldn't fit on the shelf up there. Some boxed items, rarer items.
All right. Wow. Real nice. Real nice. All right. We're going to come around. Oh, let's not forget right here. What do we have here?
There's some newer stuff.
Section.
Some old stuff. Some new He-Man stuff. Dark Crystal items made by
It's cool.
Funko. Some Planet of the Apes toys made by MEGO.
I remember this guy. He has an Autobot sign.
It's
but
one and only Transformer I have left.
Wow. But he was also on Robotech, correct?
Yes.
Wow.
It was the Valkyrie. So,
That's amazing. Alien. Okay. And what do we have in this corner?
so this is vintage G.I. Joe, 12-inch G.I. Joe items.
So this is before the G.I. Joe we know today, which were smaller, correct?
Yes. G.I. Joe started out in the 60s as a military action figure. And then in the late 60s to the early to mid 70s, he was an adventurer, and then became almost a superhero with Bullet Man and Mike Power, and then eventually shrunk down to become something called Super Joe. For a number of reasons, they needed to reinvent the brand, and also there was an oil crisis going on, where it became expensive to produce the figure as a 12-inch figure, the plastic that they would use, and so they made them smaller to save on plastic costs. And the Super Joe line did not last too long, but it happens to be one of my favorite my favorite GI Joe lines, and that lasted from 77 to 78, and then went away for a while, and then came back as a real American hero, the little guys that we all.
That's pretty cool.
Know now.
Wow. And we have some Halloween mask here. All right, that's also Super Joe.
Yes.
That's cool. Super Joe. That's amazing, man. This is awesome. All right. Wow, look at these figures. More Super Joe figures right here.
And there's a lot of customs that I had created to go in to expand the line a little bit. The line only consisted of about 8 figures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 figures. Yeah. But I created more to go in the line. Make it a little more interesting.
I mean, guys, contact Scott, please, if you have figures that you're interested in building, or you have figures you would like to sell, or just in in stuff and knowledge of knowing the history and the origin of some of this stuff. This is pretty amazing. This is amazing. What is this, a complete Halloween costume?
Yeah, that's the character, the Shield. That's the full costume.
And these are like ultra rare, right, to come by?
Absolutely. There's not many known to exist of the masks, less than 10. The costumes for the characters, the 3 costumes, again, less than 10 known to exist.
That's amazing. Wow, some Spider-Man posters, some originals still in the plastic. Rotary telephone.
Again, probably the rarest thing that I own.
I gotta get one of those. That's amazing. UFOs. Awesome. This is really breathtaking. Really.
Thank you.
And what is the figure we have here?
So this is a kind of a mishmash of things, but mostly it's Matt Mason items, which came out in the 60s, and they to coincide with the space race that was going on in the country at the time, in the world. They're very popular toys. Kind of hard to come by, especially in good condition nowadays. They're made of rubber, and the paint flakes off them quite easily.
That's pretty awesome. All right, and we have a continuation of some of the Star Wars figures and stuff. and Alien, and then this is where we began.
Yep.
Over at the Battlestar Spaceships games and the Zeroids. So please, again, what is your Facebook handles and where could we contact you?
Okay.
We need to contact you about antique toy collecting or creating or restoration, or buying and selling.
Okay. You can get me at, my name is Scott Morrissey. I'm on Facebook. I administer a few groups, toy displays, glow-in-the-dark toys, Ralph Bakshi Collectible Archive and Museum, cryptozoology toys, and collectibles. You can get me at Nazgul.com. I'm sorry, Nazgul 34@gmail.com.
Okay, how would you spell that?
Nazgul. So
Nazgul
34 at gmail.com.
at gmail. You got it there, folks. This has been an honor, honestly. And again, we're going to do mini stories on a lot of these figures and the origin and the histories of them. And, if it's not for people like Scott and people like the viewers, you guys out there keeping these things alive and, just reliving our childhood, then, it wouldn't be what it is today. So thank you. I appreciate
Thank you, sir.
having me come to your basement, your collection, and revisiting a lot of these memories, and it's good collections, and let's hope it can grow from here.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.